Hey everyone, I'm going to hop on here for just a few moments to discuss the foundations to finger strengthening and increasing technique. So I'm going to start with the wrist, palms, and fingers. So let's start with the wrist first. So the wrists are very delicate and powerful. If we don't use our wrists correctly, we can develop carpal tunnel and tendonitis. So, how can we prevent carpal tunnel and tendonitis when we play the piano? We can prevent these with the proper wrist posture. Now, what is that posture? The wrist has two positions and they are controlled and relaxed. So, when you go to play, you need a firm wrist and locked in place to descend on a key. Now, I'm going to give you a mental exercise to try for this. One of my piano coaches shared this with me, and I'm going to share this with you. You tell your wrist to lock. Now, with your other hand, push down. You don't want a floppy wrist, but let your wrist stay firm. You do this with your left hand and then do it with your right hand. And do it with both wrists. Now, once your wrist passes the resistance point on a piano, it cannot stay firm. So let me show you what I mean at the piano. When you go to play a key, you have got a controlled wrist, and then whenever you're halfway through the strike, you relax it. You relax and you rebound. If you strike the key and keep your wrist locked, the sound will be loud and angry like this. Now, if you relax and rebound, it has a much different, a more pleasant sound. Firm, then relaxed. Think of different types of sports. You have what is known as follow through. And some of us have played baseball and you have to follow through your swing. The same is true for golf and basketball and many other sports you have to follow through. So on the piano, you must follow through your stroke. So the follow through is how you're going to get rid of the pain, connect with your sound, and have a much more pleasant tone in your playing. The exercise I just gave you, you can do when you're watching YouTube or reading a post on Facebook. One thing I did not mention is if you're playing an upright piano like I'm playing right now, or maybe a keyboard or electric piano, there will not be a resistance point like there is on a grand piano. So when you're practicing this at the piano, keep the resistance in the wrist halfway through your stroke, then start to relax. So one of the things you want to think about is rebounding before you hit the bottom of the key bed. So imagine the key bed is a trampoline. You're going to bounce off of it. So that's always very helpful. So let's move on to the palm. Now I have got two tennis balls right here, and these tennis balls shape the hands. This is the posture that our hands should be in when we're at the piano. So you need the curved, rounded fingers. Keep the bridge to your hand, and the bridge is from the wrist to the fingers, more rounded. If your bridge is flat, you're going to lose your power. So try playing something at the piano with a flat bridge and flat fingers. It's just terrible. The sound is off. It sounds flat and it's hard to move across the keyboard. You can't go up and down with flat fingers and it just lacks expression. So something my piano teacher taught me was to imagine that there is a small coin in your palm. maybe a dime or a penny or something like that inside your palm. When you're playing the piano, remember that coin and try to play keeping that coin in your palm. Don't let that coin fall out. This will help you to maintain the roundness in your palm. So over the past few years, I've been watching and noting Arthur Rubinstein's posture at the piano. If you've ever watched his videos, he exemplifies the firm, then relaxed wrist. He keeps his bridge and his fingers rounded. So let's go ahead and let's move on to fingers. So we've hit on the idea of curved fingers already, but not the importance of curved fingers. Now, try playing the piano with a curved finger. Now, try playing the same thing at the piano with flat fingers. Do you hear the sound difference? When you play with flat fingers, what happens? You don't have much control and your notes sound flat. One of the hardest bones in the body is found right here in the fingertips. And when you curve that finger, you can control the velocity that you play at the piano. All right, now let's try that with flat fingers. That's just terrible. You can't hardly move. So remember firmness in the wrist and then relaxation once you hit the resistance point. So remember that exercise. Now we're going to do an exercise to train the fingertips that is very similar to the exercise that we learned for the wrist. Now, the person who taught me this method said to imagine that you have steel balls on the ends of your fingers. So your fingertips have steel balls. And that is so powerful to imagine because the energy is flowing through your fingertips. So now, just like the exercises for the wrist, we're going to lock our fingers into place. And let's lock our fingers until our fingers mentally lock. Now with your other hand, try to break that lock. So if your fingers are floppy, then your fingers are not firm. So don't let your fingers give and feel that inner firmness because the firm fingertips equals more control. Floppy fingertips, it's just less control. It's kind of like playing with flat fingers. So these are some exercises to help strengthen your fingers, increase your technique. So try these exercises, then apply them to your piano practice. And that's all that I have for this time. I will see you soon.